talk to two people a week. If you talk to
Yeah.
two people a week and 100% of them say, yeah, you're something isn't right. There's something wrong. One,
Yeah.
you're not talking to the right people. So you got to
Yep.
find the right people. That's the most important thing. No agency on the planet can figure out who your perfect referral source is. You have to
Yeah.
know. John told us, hey, my A referrals were interior designers, property managers, and realtors who sold houses that were over a certain value. And my B ones were the guys that were the dealerships. You're going to have the same ones in your community because you're going to know who they are. And if you don't, shame on you. You
Yeah.
need to do it because no agency can run ads to try to
Yes.
figure out who your customers are. And if you do that, you're going to burn a hole in your American Express card like no tomorrow.
Yes.
Welcome to the Carpet Cleaner Success Podcast, a show created to inspire carpet cleaning business owners to build their own thriving residential and commercial cleaning business. Your host, John Clendenning, has built and sold successful cleaning businesses for multiple six figures over his 30-year career and is the founder of Carpet Cleaner Marketing Masters, a digital agency that turns your online marketing into a lead generation machine. Tune in as John shares proven tips, strategies, and expert interviews to help fast-track your success in the carpet cleaning industry.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another exciting episode of the Carpet Cleaner Success Podcast. And this one, I say that every single time. It's exciting. This one's going to be really exciting because I talk fast. Brian talks fast. My good friend, Brian Durkin, from Referral Team Pro and a whole bunch of other stuff that I've known him from for a while now, a couple of years now. And we are going to talk about the exciting world. One of those things you hear me talking about all the time about strategic partners, referral partners. Brian knows this stuff cold. This has been his in his brain and his life for decades. And he is now got a service and a product and everything else around this because of how important it is and how everybody kind of messes it up and doesn't do it right. So I thought we could have a really good strategic conversation about this whole topic and kind of unpack it a little bit, give you some really good strategies to take away from. And this is the best person for me to reach out to have this on the call. So welcome, Brian. Thanks so much for jumping on the podcast.
Hey, thanks, John. And in fact, true disclosure, John was on my podcast. We recorded it a week ago, so depending on when it gets dropped, I warned them, listen to this at 0.8 speed. So normally, like all these productivity hacks say, listen at a 2x speed. That's not possible. But here's what we're going to provide: ton of value, ton of real stats. Actually, so John and I have known through some mutual connections in our Dan Kennedy world for a couple of years now. I think I smacked my truck in Miami meeting him at one of his mastermind meetings on a rainy night in Little Havana in Cuba. I do have a good memory. I am a sales guy first. Just remember that.
Yeah.
But I think the idea is that I've been doing this referral component where other people have brought me into huge deals. I'm talking, I've done hundreds of millions. Like it's not a BS blow, I'm not puffing my chest. I sold enterprise technology. So a deal could be 5 million, it could be 3 million, it could be 50,000, it could be, they're all the same. My biggest one that I ever signed was 32 million. That was the best thing ever. It also took me 2 years of my life. I almost went broke trying to get it. But the reality of it is like, so they do happen and they're all the same. But the one thing I realized probably a year ago was I just do this naturally and not everyone does it. Like seriously, like they do it. My wife spoke at an event just yesterday. This is August of 2025. And she asked, how many people get business through referrals and how do you do like the network? And like 3 people raised their hand. There's a room of 125 people. And then how many of you guys don't want to do it, but know the value? And they all raised their hand. She's like, I think we're on to something. So the reality of it is that referrals matter. And they are, if everyone, and John, I'm sure will tell you if you're in the CCLP world and you're using his systems, he's going to tell you got to have referrals. Your customer referrals are your first source to do that. And there's lots of great ways to do it. And you need to train whoever's in front of your client to ask for referrals. Hell, our cleaning company that cleans my house, once a month, they leave a little note. Thanks very much. Do you know any neighbors that you could recommend to us? If you do, we'll do whatever.
And that's the one-to-one, right?
That's
Which
the one-to-one,
everybody should
right?
do. Your real estate agent or your insurance agent sits down with you, leaves a couple business cards, and you feel nice. You leave them on the coffee table for 3 or 4 days before you throw them in the garbage. But that's the one-to-one. And again, if he wows the socks off you and somebody actually asks you at a dinner engagement, hey, I'm looking for a new insurance agent. Do you know anybody? Oh, again, my guy Andrew's a good guy. You might want to give him a call. Do you have his number? No, I don't, because I've already thrown out the business card. That's the real reality of the world. But you want to make sure that the odd maven, as they call it, can go out and tell everybody. But what we're going to be talking about is that one to many, which
Correct.
is the Chet Holmes Dream 100 conversation, the Russell Brunson Dream 100 influencer, if you read Traffic Secrets or any of those traffic experts book, stuff like that. So that's what we're going down that rabbit hole is the one to many, where that one part I've told all you guys about, like, the real estate agents that we worked with, Faisal being one of them, where I sent a shoe. I learned it from Dan Kennedy. I was a kid. I sent one shoe in the mail, called his gal up, and sent a leather shoe, cost me a couple $100, like 20 some odd years ago, and said, yeah, this is cheesy. I get it. I want to get my foot in the door. I literally do have the other shoe. It is the right size for you. I already called your gal. Can I sit down and have a meeting with you? He was just a junior Remax agent. He now runs like a massive office with teams and stuff like that. And he turned into being a guy that we cleaned a couple hundred square feet of his home to prove that we did a good job and had a great experience, to somebody who generates $10,000 to $20,000 a year. And many other referral partners have done the same thing, our chiropractors and stuff like that. But $10,000 to $20,000 worth of residential cleaning, because he recommends us. So we have that endorsed relationship. But it wouldn't have happened if I didn't get out of my comfort zone and try something at the beginning, which, as
Correct.
Brian will tell you, 99% of businesses don't do. They just want to hide behind an ad and try and get great leads. And this is just another pole in the water that can generate massive value to your company. So yeah, let's talk about referral partners.
So referral partners.
What's the problem about getting them? Why are they so hard to?
One is everyone says they have a referral system, but they don't. So that's everyone says. Yeah, oh, I have a system.
System is the key word there, right?
System is and so when I wrote my book Stuck on First, I talked about process-oriented marketing. I didn't even know what that meant, right? Because that was a term I coined like 20 years ago. Because I was like, when I had my tech business in New Jersey, I had a telesalesperson that would qualify people. I had an inside rep who would put together packages of stuff. And then I became a magnetic marketer. What did that mean? I sent articles about their industry to those people. Why did that matter? Because that allowed me to get deals that were worth hundreds of thousands of dollars while my competitors were going for scraps, because we became really valuable, really valuable partners. So that was the system, right? I didn't know it was a system. I was just like hungry and I wanted to make money. So I did that. And so I realized that, so systems, by the way, systems don't need to be complicated. They just need to be identified and followed like to the magnet, to like the core of like almost insanity. But so I'm insane, because I truly am insane. I'm inventing stuff like crazy. If you want to listen to The Working Genius, and I'm an ID, I'm an inventor discerner. So I want to invent something, but I already know it's the right stuff. So just beware. Everything I'm telling you is 100% true, because I'm 100% right. You can disagree with me, by the way. But so what we started to do over the last year and a half was I have a team of I'm known as the VA guy. I've been working with virtual teams for almost since 1997, whatever the math is, going on 30 years. So when I did it 30 years ago, it was scary. When you do it now, it's kind of like, well, everyone's doing it. It's like a race to the bottom. So what I found is the more concise we can do, like the all the things that everyone should be doing, and just make it easy for them, right? That's what's happening. So I'll share with you some stats. So let's just talk about referrals. So in John's world, we talk about old customers coming back and then partners referring back to you. So that one-on-one model, we worked with a client about 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago now. They had a big list there, so that their average sale was about $500, maybe $600. They weren't in the cleaning business. They were in the wholesale printing business. So they were counting on their retail partners, the retail shops you and I walk into all over the country and all over Canada. And when they have a need for 500 banners for Little League opening day or for the football season, the local print shop can print Joey's baseball picture that says you're great and the birthday banners, but they can't do 500. So these guys were like a massive scale one. So we reached out to 2,500 of their old clients, said, do you remember us? You haven't heard from us in a while, right?
Yeah.
So I think it was around 3,000 clients. John, guess how many people said, hey, I remember you guys. Keep me in the loop. What's going on specials? Any idea?
How 3,000 you said that you reached out to?
Yep.
Would it be 10%, 300?
Yeah, good. That would be good. But we sent emails and followed up on them. And so we got 830, we got 833 because we were following up.
Yeah.
So I've talked to John privately, like when you do multi-channel, it doesn't necessarily it's not always the same. You're going to get 3 times the results, right?
So let's pause on that for a second, because again, we love these to be coaching sessions and training for people to get in their head. And not everybody has the marketing pedigree that you and I have, where we just tried to pick this up. So there's going to be some people in the audience are going, okay, so you send an email and all of a sudden you build this massive business. Okay, I get it. And we both know it's multi-touch, multi-channel, drip like crazy. Like when I say even your reminder, your annual reminder, at least a send it out notice. Hey, 2 weeks later, by the way, did you get this? Maybe handwritten all over. And then a third one, final notice kind of idea. And you can
All that
extend
stuff
that
works. Yeah.
to insane levels. Anytime you're doing any marketing, you should be chasing them with an awareness, a second awareness, and then a final call to action FOMO moment and stuff like that, and then layers beyond that, and you test every iteration, and you give it to them on different. You don't just pick up the phone, you don't just email. What if the email only gets opened 30% of the time? You just lost 70% of your potential. You don't just text message, because if you do that all the time, they're going to just do stop, and then you've lost that channel. You've got to do multi-touch, multi-channel, warm them up,
Right.
let them know who you are, from cold to warm to hot to I'm interested, and let them funnel themselves down. That's the
Exactly.
marketing mindset that you and I both know when we're doing marketing, that maybe the average business owner goes, oh, really? I just thought I had to email once and nobody answered my email. I guess referrals don't work.
And so here's the scary part. So here's the
Yeah,
first scary thing that I use a very scary word: 3,000 past customers. So, okay, great.
yes.
I started with there first because, okay, that's scary. I don't have 3,000 customers. I'm just starting
Yeah.
out. I'm in
Yeah.
I mean, my business I have handfuls of clients. Like I go on vacation relationships with my clients. I'm really blessed that
Okay.
way. So, but the idea is like, okay, well, that doesn't make sense for me. How do I do that? Well, once you go B2B referral, what do we mean by B2B referral? You're both
Yeah.
talking to potentially the same customer.
Yeah.
You're complementary businesses and you help each other grow. So
Yeah.
all of a sudden you can go from like, okay, I need 3,000 to I'll share another. These are all true numbers. I can't share the
Yeah. Yeah.
names, but another one, and I'll share two home services ones that are they're similar businesses but different, highly targeted groups of 250, 300, they're perfect future customer, right? PFCs or whatever you want to call them, right? So what do they look like? So a business, let me try to, so let's just say their perfect customer is an insurance agency in Naples, Florida that has between 3 agents and 10 agents that are locally owned. You cannot buy a list that has a list of that. That does not happen,
Yeah.
right?
Ezra.
So
Yeah.
now when you go to the local BNI meeting, which is we all did when we started,
Yeah.
you can find out, do I work for Marsh & McLennan, which is a big company, or do I work for a small company? Small
Yeah.
companies, like other small companies, it's easier to do
Yes.
business and refer to each other. Start from there. Great. Well, what do you
Yeah.
do? Well, you met them. They're a target. Hey, John is an insurance agent for Clendenning and Clendenning Insurance in Naples. Great. What do you do then? Hey,
Yeah.
and so how do you do that? So the first step is identifying your target. The second time is saying, hey, we like each other. We talk about Dan Kennedy. We geek out about this stuff. We had a long preview meeting that's probably as long as the podcast is going to be, but we geek out on this stuff. And by the way, don't be intimidated that we're going too much too fast. Pick one or two things that you're going to hear and implement it. It'll make the world of
Yeah.
difference. Um, my little business that my wife and I own is a 7-figure business. 100% of our business is by referrals, right?
Yeah.
It's her and I and a team of staff that does our work. So I'm just telling you, this is not this is not unobtainium. I'm not going to sell you crypto. Like there's no like I'm not going to sell 2.3 million books today to give you access to stuff, right? So we just survived the Hermosi launch if you haven't done
The
it.
Hermosi launch on the weekend. Yeah.
And he did, by the way, he did a great job. And John and I agree. He just
Yeah.
repackaged other people's stuff. He took the best of this guy and that guy and that guy and that guy and that guy. And he still, if you looked at the audience and the people behind the screen, they were probably people from the gym business, the supplement business, the
Yeah.
opportunity business, under the age of 30, which is his niche because he's under the age of 30. So he did a great
Yeah.
job.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, great stuff. So all right, geeking out. So let's just say I'll use two locations because they're two different niches, similar industries. About 500 different perfect future clients, right?
Mhm.
About 2.5, 3% said, "Yep, come and meet me. I'm ready to meet you right now." That's important,
Yes.
and because we position them as, "Hey, we're in the same industry. We're servicing the same client. We'd like to we should know each other so that we can refer each other business." That's important
Yes.
because you don't want them to give you business. You want to be giving first. If you give first, you're going to get later, right?
Yeah.
And you have to actually stay good with that. You can't just they will smell that from 10,000 miles away if you
Yeah.
do not do that. Just be careful. That doesn't do that. But here's what's crazy, and this is why I've been talking to all my friends, is like almost 28% of the people we talked to said, "Yep, that's great information. I'm not ready right now. Please
Yes.
keep me in your list." And they're like, "Well, we'd like to get more appointments." And our response is marketers going, "You got almost a third. So almost 80 people out of 250 people are saying, either I have an appointment or I want to keep in contact with you because just because you want to sell doesn't mean they want to buy." right?
Yes.
It's incredible that, and then you realize that because they're not acting that way, because they're looking for the 1% of the people walking around plugging their umbilical cord in, that's a huge opportunity for you as a small business, right? Trying to get more referral businesses, right? Because if you, in this case, I'll do the math. The average customer deal is about $7,500. I did some math. Let's call it. So
Yeah.
let's say their average deal was $7,500. If they had four referral partners, just four, giving them four jobs a year, so basically one a
Yeah.
month, that's a $125,000 business. I
Yep.
mean, that's just like saying, so now you can go run ads and and John can tell you, I'm gonna build the audience, I'm gonna spend X amount of dollars, your average lead cost gonna be X, your close rate's gonna be Y. You should do that as well. I'm not saying stop that. This
It's
is
poles in the water. This is just another pole in the water that you scale to the point where it's all of the above. It's not
correct.
or, it's and.
You need to do personal events, you need to do your
Yeah.
personal referrals, you need to do all that stuff.
Yep.
This is truly Abraham's Parthenon theory, right? You have to have at least five pillars to hold up the capital.
Yep.
So you should never have
Exactly.
one. One's the scariest number in business. One customer, one channel, one thing. That is
Yeah.
the scariest thing. So this is meant
Yeah.
as a supplement to it, right? But when you think about it, I had a big ad agency owner saying, "Well, that business doesn't scale." You're right, but it's just profitable as hell because
Yeah.
not all of your channels are going to fail simultaneously. If it does,
So,
we have a
so
different
when
problem.
somebody is say, so some you reached out to somebody, we call the core four. We talk about in cleaning world, it's interior designers, real estate agents, maid services, and flooring store owners. That's the core four.
Yep.
And then beyond that, anybody who's in front of your audience. I realized Mercedes and BMW dealerships were in front of our ideal client. Most of our clients, when I went to stop by, drop off rugs, meet the team, do that kind of stuff, because I wasn't in the truck after the first year and a half, I saw that they had Beamers and and Mercedes and Jaguars and all in their driveway. So I started chumming up with the general managers of those places and eventually got a referral relationship from a couple of them as well to mail to their database and in exchange for free cleanings in their office and so because I'm not referring somebody to buy a car, but I am giving them give to get. Let me come
Hey,
to your
if
home and do a whole bunch of free cleaning to
come and
make
do a
your wife
test drive,
happy.
get a free
Yeah.
cleaning of your office. Like they're
Exactly,
gonna
all
use
that
it.
stuff, right? So,
All
and
that
then
stuff.
you can expand it from there once you get past the core four. But when you reach out, and again, as Chet Holmes says in the Ultimate Sales Machine and stuff like that, and his daughter now that runs the service, that 3% is ready right now. The next group is interested; they're just not ready right now. So you stay in touch, and that just sounds great. You and I know. Oh, I've got a whole bunch of ideas what stay in touch means. The average business owner going, well, how do I stay in touch? What do I
Yeah.
do?
So one
What's
is
that
being
all about?
relevant, right? So one's being relevant. And then because I am an ID, I said that earlier, I
Yeah.
invented a series of assistants to help out because you
Yes.
could sit down and say, you could say, hey, like I always tell people, the simplest thing to do is talk about what you're known for. If you know
Yeah.
Brian, he talks about baseball, his kids, family, and travel. That's what I'm about. You talk about your community. I love where I
Yeah.
live. I live where you vacation. And then, oh, by
Yeah.
the way, if you need some help with some referrals, I would love to be able to help you. And so we
Yeah.
created an assistant where you just talk to it in English. I want to
Yeah.
talk about my trip to Springfield, Missouri.
Yeah. Okay.
I want to talk about the Great Canoe Race that just happened a month ago. It's just like this idiot race. We have season in
Yeah. Yeah.
Naples. So it's a tour. It's the thing at the end of the year where all the service people get together, drink a lot of beer, and race canoes to see who has
Okay.
the fastest canoe race. So the servers for this hotel and this restaurant, they all have it's a big blow off thing, right? So
Fair enough.
and oh by the way, here's my call to action, right?
Yeah.
So not only do we get good, I use that personally, but only do we not get not only do we not get good engagement, but when they're ready to buy, they're always talking about whatever you're cool, whatever you're known about. Brian, I follow you on social. I know you talk about your kids, and I'm watching your kid go through the baseball ranks.
Yeah. So
How
real authentic
memorable.
storytelling messaging going out in the mix. Just
And
stay
it's
in
hard to
touch.
see because
Yeah.
nobody wants to talk about
Yeah.
themselves. That's why we
No.
create the assistant, right? And
Yeah.
there's some magic
Yeah.
right
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
makes it better and faster. But that's one of the key rubs. And then stay in contact with them consistently. Then
Where do you stay in touch with them? They get emails, but
so they
sometimes
get
we don't get them.
emails. If they
What's
are
this
higher
multi-touch?
value, so we talk about
Yeah.
multi-touch, depending on the value, right? Because this is where the owner comes in. Hey, these
Yeah.
five are they're my dream 100. I really want to do business with these five people.
Okay.
What else could we do? Well,
So sorting your
you
list. There's another
sorting
key
your list,
strategy. Everybody
picking
write that down. Yeah.
doable
Yeah.
things. Hey,
Yeah.
could you send them a little thank you card?
Yes.
Go to the bookstore and buy little thank you cards. Hey,
Yeah.
John, I'm looking forward to get to know you. I hope we get a chance to have coffee soon. Here's my business card. Boom.
Yeah.
Drop it in the mail. A week later, drop a phone call, drop an email to
Yeah.
them. You're going to get.
And one of the ones I've suggested that I used to do is when I read a really good book back in the day, I would go buy 10 other copies, write a little note on the inside sleeve and send it to the ones that could be huge for me, like the bigger, like, right. So I would just, I learned that from a good friend of mine that's been on the podcast before, Sean Barrett. And that was, again, it's a Dan Kennedy strategy. We all kind of learned from there. He was ahead of me and he would do that. And and I'm going, that's amazing because that's that property manager. That's that, the maid service that has, you met them for lunch, you had a conversation, you maybe talked to them on the phone and you found out they have 500 customers in the local marketplace. Why would you not send them a book for $20 or $15 and pop it in the mail and say, hey, I read this book and just you popped it in the top of my head. Yeah.
Right. I talked to you about what I did 25 years ago. I had no idea. I was lucky enough to work with guys that were writing articles that were in magazines.
Yes.
So whenever they publish something, they would say, hey, I'm publishing this next month in Network, Journal, whatever.
Yeah.
Why don't you send this out to these 10 people you're talking to? Again, CIOs, Fortune 100 companies. How do we stand out? And so we would go to meeting. We went to one meeting with a massive insurance company, and they said, okay, guys, I want you to know that we have the people in the room that wrote the book. These two guys wrote a textbook that there it is on my shelf. And then here are their articles and the other stuff. And here they are speaking at conferences, right? So again,
and that works so well that even, who was it that is in the Kennedy world? Like, so Gary Halbert talked about ripping the headline off of in that news trade magazine and sending it out as if and put a sticky note on it, but do it in mass, right? Do it because you're, and there became a company, I can't remember who it was, but even in the Kennedy world, that's exactly what they did. They would actually print on newsprint. Looks like you ripped it out, but it became a product because it's that good, right? So these are the things you need to think of. Like if somebody doesn't answer a message, like you don't want to just send an email, send a piece of like a mail in the mail to them, like the thank you card, but also, something else. And then if you don't hear back from them, what we did is we bought those little trash cans and we'd crumple it all up a second and put it in and say, and tape it and put it, and they'd get a trash can in the mail and they go, what the heck's it? They'd rip it off. And it's like, they'd pull it out and it'd be the same sales letter, but with a notice on the top. Hey, I found this in your trash. I'm not really sure you wanted to throw it out.
There you go. No, I'm going to pause for a second. That sounds hard, John. That sounds advanced.
No, again,
so
that's what we hear from everybody is, oh my God, I don't have time to be that deep of a marketer. I don't know how to do that yet.
So again,
how do you shortcut that? Yeah.
Five people a month. In a year, you'll talk to 50 people. If 8 people give you jobs worth X amount, that's 100%. That's the whole. So we're trying to simplify.
So $10,000 to $20,000 from a referral partner should be your goal per year from like a real estate agent, interior designer, maid service. They should hand you $10,000 to $25,000 or $10,000 to $20,000 of first time customer transactional jobs that we all know you turn into the lifetime value of another $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 because half of them you retain for the next 5, 7, 10, 20 years in your company. And there's your $1 million carpet cleaning business right there. So right?
We're trying to get you to $1 million, right? So the rub, 90% of companies, 93% of people never get to $1 million, whatever the number is, massive, right? So we're trying to get you from the hobby, get you on the truck, whatever it is, get you off.
And it takes work and it takes effort.
And it takes work. And these are the things. And by the way, the reason why this sounds hard, well, if you want help, we can help you. But the reality of it is you can do this all yourself. And so I'm literally not hiding. This is a consult. Like you can do this yourself. I have an enterprise client. I will tell you that he has a big list that we've been working together for years. Our best performing campaigns are thank you cards, and thank you emails. Yeah. And you know what guess what the email says? Thanks for the opportunity to help you with your recent project. I saw that Joe was there on Tuesday. And then they get a little handwritten card. We use some tech. Hey Joe, I didn't hear back. I'm assuming no news is good news. If you need anything to help, here's my card, right? Sending this as a $20 million services company, sending it out. So it works at all levels to all types of clients. This is an industrial company selling to factories that make diapers.
And nobody gets it.
So it doesn't. If you're not, it's no different.
Nobody gets a handwritten note anymore. So if you're not sending out a to every customer you've just cleaned, first time repeat, thanks for coming back is good, better, best. Everybody gets, hey, thanks so much for having my text over, blah blah blah, and it looks handwritten, or it is handwritten. Choose better.
Actually,
thanks for the first time. Thanks for coming back. Even a little bit more of a nuance. that's one-to-one again. One-to-many is us, again, whether you
Working with
met them at
John
the
on
chamber, whether you
systemizing it
reached out
using
to them,
tools.
you stay in touch.
Yep.
And every now and then it's a thank you card.
So it definitely works.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what it is. You got to be a little different because here's the deal. Your competitors are giving up after one, maybe two emails, right? So everyone's
Exactly.
asking for referrals. They're
Yep.
giving up, right? So that's one stat. So think about it. 250 people, just a highly targeted list. You can start with 25 yourself, right? I
Yep.
just want to talk to two people a week because if you talk to two people a week, after a year, it's 100
Yeah.
people.
You've landed referral partners that are worth 10 to 20,000 a
But you
year for
have to
sure.
do it.
Yeah.
And you have to do it consistently. Another,
Yeah.
I'll share another stat. So we have a member who's in the overflow CPA business. He has an outsourced kind of bookkeeping
Yeah.
business, and so we were going after property managers and end user clients, all this stuff. And what we found is that CPAs need overflow work, but they don't need it all the time.
Okay.
So we found that out because we experimented with our offer and said we'd like
Yep.
to be able to help you. And so we found a little niche. And so it went from projects to now consistent people to now small teams of people doing overflow work and regular work for CPAs. And we literally started realizing, hey, there's a market for this. It's a hybrid model, whatever. And so we learned, you talked about your core four. We picked three markets to go after. And after 2 months, we figured out that two were just garbage.
Okay.
They were just so most people would just
Tire
give up.
kickers, never engaging. Yeah. All this
Yeah, they
stuff.
just
Yeah.
went, hey, it's great, but we already have somebody. Great, but we already have
Yeah.
some. So I'm like, so because what we thought, and I said, well, if you think it's right, I don't have any knowledge of your business. I can't
Yeah.
tell you, but
We'll
we're only
test.
gonna know. Guess what the magic number was we used to test it?
Mm.
250.
Okay.
When we got
Fair enough.
250 people, and because we call, email, other stuff, so your response rate's going to be somewhere between
Yeah.
10 to 20%, 25%, whatever you get a hold of. And when you're
And
getting above that
that's
number,
statistically, yeah.
it's just the way
That's
it works, right?
statistically,
Any niche,
yeah. Sorry.
any
Yeah.
niche, any industry, that's that.
Yeah.
You're going to have them do something. Some of them they're going to either open the mail, they're going to
Yeah.
respond, whatever it is. When we
So
were
that's
getting,
again, that's another magic lesson because a lot of people think, oh, I sent out a couple of emails, it didn't work.
that's good to know, right? Because
Yeah, like I've had people say, John, can you turn this off because I had a customer call me and think it's too many messages. And I'm going, that's interesting. So we've sent over to over 500 customers of yours so far in the first 3 months. You've had one come back and complain and you want to turn the whole system off. That means
just kick 'em off the list.
499. It's a good pace. They're not overwhelmed by it. So
Absolutely.
yeah, you need to have statistically significant data. So you have to have enough interactions that you're not making a decision based on time of year, weather, politics,
Right.
wars. And then you also have to understand that what is an acceptable Karen rate, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
What is an acceptable rate where it's 15-20% of people complaining means you're probably pushing pretty close to a good part. 5% of people complaining, you're probably not pushing hard enough. There's
Right.
probably more you could do because it's not enough people going, okay, now now that's too much because the
All right,
rest
so-
of them are keeping up.
So I'm going to stop John again because he's already gone to like big percentages. Talk to two people a week. If you talk to
Yeah.
two people a week and 100% of them say, yeah, something isn't right. There's something wrong. One,
Yeah.
you're not talking to the right people. So you
Yep.
got to find the right people. That's the most important thing. No agency on the planet can figure out who your perfect referral source is. You have to know. John told us, hey, my A referrals were interior designers, property managers, and realtors who sold houses that were over a certain value. And my B ones were the guys that were the dealerships. You're going to have the same ones in your community because you're going to know who they are. And if you don't, shame on you. You
Yeah.
need to do it because no agency can run ads to
Yes.
try to figure out who your customers are. And if you do that, you're going to burn a hole in your American Express card like no tomorrow.
Yes. So that's why this is hard, is because it's not only am I staring at a screen over here of Referral Team Pro system that you've set up. And again, this isn't a sales pitch for that, but it's 5 touches, 5 different mechanisms. So postcards, emails, phone,
Whatever makes
social
sense, right?
media, and things like that. So there's 25 alone. Can you think through 25 interactions and when you need to start talking about success stories, when you need to start talking about
Correct.
other people who are already referral partners getting wins and your little family history and what you're all about, because people at the end of the day, people connect with people, not brands. You've got to stand out. There's a reason why you said that somebody who is running the mom and pop business loves and respects other mom and pop business owners versus the one that's hiding behind the fact that they own a franchise or a brand and don't even want their face on it. They are not as engaged. They're hoping that other marketing will work for them because they're not engaged in their community as much, right?
I'm
So
not saying franchises are bad. We're not saying
no,
that franchises
not at
are
all.
bad.
But some franchise owners are smart. They go, I own the franchise, but here's why I bought it. Other guys go, don't even talk about me. My general manager runs it. I'm on the golf course. I don't even want to be known.
Right,
Right.
for
And
sure.
there's a difference. So one of
Um,
them will be a great referral partner. The other one couldn't care less about you. So
I'll mention someone that John, I don't think you know Ben Glass. Ben Glass is he's a
I know
personal
Ben,
injury. He's a personal
personal
injury
injury.
attorney.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
do you know about Ben Glass?
I know that Vance introduced to him, me, and I talked to his wife at the event that Vance and I went to.
So here's what you don't know about him. He has been
Okay.
a soccer referee for 50 years.
Did not know that about Ben.
Right. So,
Yeah.
and when he got sick, he had a heart problem.
Okay.
Dan Kennedy sent a note around that says, "Oh yes, I guess lawyers do have hearts because there's only one good one I know, and his name is Ben Glass." Right.
Ah, that's awesome.
So anyway, because Ben is known for his commitment to, he's known for two
Soccer.
things:
Yeah.
soccer, because he's been reffing his kids ref, he does his
Yeah.
grandkids, and then he has, I think, 10 children. He has 4 of his own, and he adopted
Okay.
4 or 5
Wow.
kids out of China and has been raising them. So
Yeah.
he's in his 60s. I don't know how old he
Yes.
is. Sorry, Ben, if you're listening to this. I think he's got teenage kids, and even though
Yeah.
he has grown kids with grandbabies, and I'm pretty sure some of the kids he adopted are now having their families too. So
Yeah.
that's his core.
He's got a lot of stuff to talk about that personalizes him. This is the point of that, is personalizes him with his audience, because again, and the agent, the tools that you've built, it's part of that is, how do you get those stories out of your head if you're not a good writer, if you're not, how do you actually tell people your story, create the personality, the authenticity, and then still be able to sort of casually, ethically turn the corner into the business relationship you want to build. So you build a rapport relationship when you're not face to face. Try and do it face to face, but this is before that. And then, but you're building it the right way. You're not going, our company is great and we have the color blue on our logo. And like, it's not that. It's like, hey,
we've been in
I got
business since
grandkids, I ref.
1992.
Yeah.
You know, on the side of every truck. Been in business since 1992.
Yeah.
We aim to please.
Yes.
What?
100% satisfaction guarantee, because your competitors say that we only satisfy you 99% of the time. That doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway.
Exactly. But
so all right.
yeah, so we're building, you're talking about doing it authentically, building rapport at scale with the right testing. So these are the things that we're learning from this, is the right testing. You got to test the sequence, you got to test the audience, you got to, and all that kind of stuff. So there's a value to this. We know that you should be doing this at a very grassroots level. If you're not doing it every single week and outreaching and talking to and sitting down and having a coffee date with a real estate agent or an interior designer or any of the core 4 every week, you're not doing your basic job to grow your company, right? You're trying to do other things that aren't in your wheelhouse. When you want to get it to scale, now you need help.
That's another story.
You either got to learn it or you need help. You know, that becomes
someone will do it for you. Someone in your office.
The who, not how. The who, not how. So
right. And so let's just talk about, so you said something a couple of times. So scale in my book, which you can get on Amazon. I don't even use it as a lead magnet anymore. Yeah. I talk about meaningful scale, because it's not everyone. I realized this weekend, I had one of my friends going, I said, I don't want to be Alex Ramosi. I don't want to need to sell 2 million books to get a Guinness Book of World Records to affect it, because he said he wants to help more people. I just want to help more people. Well, whether I help 50 or 100 or 1,000, whatever.
We don't all want to be billionaires and all that stuff.
Not even that. He's got no kids. He's got no family. So to me, family's more important. He seems to work all the time, which is great. I work a lot too.
Yes,
we all work too
he's
much.
part of the hustle culture for sure. If you can get up earlier and work later, you'll be more effective. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's just like, well, I'm trying to create legacy.
That's not a balance.
Family and all that stuff. So I don't know that you need to do that. So that stresses a lot of people out. So I'll tell us a true story about our business. We have an interior design business. We got our business 100% by referral. Last year, 3 referral partners brought in $800,000.
Yep.
So
exactly.
So and what were they?
So your marketing expense is treating those referral partners right. Your marketing expense is those people are gold to you, and so they don't get ignored. They get the bulk of the budget of your marketing and budget.
And a lot of times
you're meeting them, you're taking them out for dinner, you're doing the things that you need to do. Yeah.
And by the way, your budget is just being genuine and present and saying,
exactly,
hey, we should go out to dinner. We enjoy hanging out, because if you solve their problem, and by the way, 2 industries, property managers and remodeling contractors that get hired through referrals to property managers. Huh.
Yes.
Shocker. Now, Pam does a lot of work in high rises. That's just how it works. But amazing. How about that? 2 different referral sources, 800,000. Now,
Yep.
oh, it must be nice. You live in a wealthy area. No, there's wealthy people in every community. I
There
guarantee
is.
you there are people in John's within 20 miles of
And that
John's
and that's
house
a
who have a $3 million house
yeah.
and their vacation home somewhere else and their place in Florida, Arizona, wherever. There's
Yeah.
somebody and they're in every community on the planet.
They are. And the brutal truth of that, and I did that on the ISSA Clean Facts, the joint 2-day symposium that we did in March. I opened the opening address, the brutal truth. And the brutal truth is quantitative easing is done, money printing is out the way. We got inflation. The middle class is being pinched, and this isn't a temporary transient problem. This is a systemic problem that was seen before the pandemic even showed up. The pandemic just increased the money printers and created the crap that we're dealing with. The ideal customer, as Dan Kennedy said 20 years ago, and it's more true now than it ever was, is the affluent. The upper middle class and the upper class buy discretionary services like carpet cleaning, cleaning service on a regular basis, find their people and use them for life. The middle class is losing that discretionary income, and they are deciding between the discount guy or renting the machine themselves more often now than a year ago, more often a year ago than 5 years ago.
Right.
So this strategy, not only is it something that should have always been done, and it's been a great strategy for time in memoriam, it's
nothing
also
new.
more important now.
Right. It's
Yeah.
nothing new. And this is funny. Poor people ask for discounts and rich people ask where they can wire the money. I can tell you, I
Yes.
have direct experience with that. Hey,
Yeah.
I'm going on vacation. I'm just going to send you $75,000. Is that okay?
Yes.
Yes, please. You can send me $75,000.
Yes,
We'll
exactly.
figure it out later. So don't be afraid to
Yep.
work with, and so as you progress through this referral thing, don't be afraid to go to the high end person in your market.
Yeah.
John talked about guy when he started was X and then he became 10X later on. Don't be
Yeah.
afraid that, and also align with people that align with your goals, right?
Yeah.
So if there's some, because that personal connect, I have referral partners from 20 years ago, like,
Yes.
and we might fall out of touch for 2 years, and it's like we feel like, I had someone on my podcast,
But they
like,
still feel like a friend from high school. They still
you're a
feel
brother
that you
from
feel
another
like that.
mother. Like, where have you been? I
Yeah.
haven't talked. Like, it's just like you literally. So you'll find
Yeah.
referral partners and hopefully customers that feel that way, because
Yeah.
those, they talk about penetrate and radiate is like this sales crap that, got to get in and get there early and just give them a nibble and then keep upselling them. No, just provide real value, make it
Yeah.
about them. And once you make it about them, everybody's a winner. And so,
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the
And
reality.
even on the back end of that, make sure that, again, as you're finding referral partners, again, it isn't just like, oh, there's the magic key on its own. It is a piece of the puzzle, because if you got technicians and they're showing up smelling bad, spitting out the window of the truck, sitting texting their girlfriend, getting pissed off and screaming before they walk in the door, don't have a routine, they don't deliver a client experience. The thing I've been flown around the world to teach for 20 years now, how to deliver a client experience, how to craft one, how to build one, the Walt Disney process kind of idea and all of that. If you haven't sort of delivered a great client experience, then if you generate a referral partner and they refer you, and that first or second person that you clean for has a crappy experience, or it's not consistent. One person said they're amazing. The next person said, I don't know really if I like those guys. It was kind of a really rough. You're never getting another referral again, and you broke the relationship. So
Yeah, 100%.
understand that, again, all of it still sits in the same sandbox. It's all little pieces of the same pie, and you've got to make sure that you've got your shit in order. To be blatantly honest, you've got to deliver a great experience that's consistent every single time, that you've choreographed, you've got to process so that it feels great to the end user, and they go, I have no effort referring you. And then as soon as you do that referral job, you get feedback from them. You might not get a Google review. Sometimes you will, sometimes you won't, but get feedback from all of them and send that feedback back to the referral partner and go, look, thank you so much. And they were so happy. I really appreciate it. By the way, here's your referral reward if that's what you're doing, or here's whatever the end game is on that, how you've built your program. You tell them about this happy customer story back to them again as well. So you create case studies out of the people that they referred to you, and that's a little piece of it, but because it's like the dog treat. If you want the dog to sit and pee on the pee pad, every time it goes to the pee pad, give it a treat. Eventually the dog doesn't need a treat to go to the pee pad. And I'm not saying our referral partners are dogs, but what I am saying is if you can reward the relationship, then you get a chance, you get the grace, the period to build it. you get the grace period to cement it into these lifelong friendships, when they appear. But if you didn't get past go because you screwed up the very first referral, you'll be somebody that you wave to in the drive-through because you've seen them and you took them out for lunch once, and they have no interest in talking to you ever again. So
Yeah.
you've
So
got
Sean had a couple good. Sean had a couple good points. So once you get to higher dollar values, once the average job is two, three, five, $10,000 for a single project, right? The reward mechanism isn't dollars, it's
Yes.
recognition and experience, right? It's going golfing with them if that's their golfers, or supporting their favorite charity or whatever. So they're not necessarily so coin operated, not the affiliate kind of
Yeah,
referral
and we've
thing.
noticed that as well. Some people want that 10% of it, the Howard Partridge 101. Other people say, you know what, I don't want the 10%, just give my clients the savings or whatever. But you start to realize that they don't need the cash. They want they want the relationship, the
And
experience,
they
and
want
stuff
the
like that.
resource because they want
Yeah,
the help. And you should be also saying, hey, like if you're
yeah,
maybe you're not in a position to refer clients to them. I have a lot of clients where it's just a one-way street, but they
yeah,
may have access to training, they may have access
yeah.
to events, they may have other stuff. My brother has a client who sells a commodity pipe, and the guy says,
Okay.
I only have one thing. That's an American Express account with a really big limit on it.
Yeah.
So just tell your clients where we go. Every year they do a trip. They went to Costa Rica
Okay.
this year. He took 10
Wow.
people to Costa Rica
Yeah.
because he said, I sell a commodity item. It's sold by the pound, it's sold by the foot. My stuff is no different than everyone else's. The difference is last year, he's outside of Philadelphia. They went to the Philadelphia Eagles game in Dallas.
Yeah.
The year before, 2 years ago. This year, they went to Costa Rica fishing. This
Yep.
summer, they went on a fishing tournament in Atlantic City and they won second place
Yeah.
on something. So
Well,
again,
even in our
so they
carpet
can,
cleaning world, but yeah, my buddy Sean that was on, we talked about that on the interview. Like he had the charity golf tournament every year, and then he would also take guys out golfing. But he also picked them up in a limo. It's about 2 hours away from Maple Leaf to go watch a Toronto Maple Leafs game, and he would in a limo pick up agents, adjusters, or property managers, and they would all go down. He would get the gold tickets. Why would he spend that much money for one night? Drop $5,000-$10,000 for a night of schmoozing, because these guys would be handing him in mass. He's developing the relationship. They don't need a referral reward from the jobs that they're getting. They just want to know that he's doing a great job for their customers. I'm going to keep referring you. And thank you for taking me to the Leafs game. I haven't been to one since I was a kid. And that's the memory. So there's some people that want, the transaction. But again, as you said, as you upscale, if your referral partner is giving you 10, 20, 30, $100,000 a year worth of work,
they might like it,
they
but
probably don't. They don't want the 10%. They want. They just want to have a great relationship.
so we just did this. This is the second time we've done it this year. My wife and I created, she has her clients, I have mine. We created the Naples experience.
Yeah.
So we had customers come in for 2.5 days. As
Yeah.
long as they flew in to get here and they paid for their hotel, we took care of
Yeah.
everything else.
Yeah.
We took care of the food. We took care of the event, like everything. We had a sunset cruise. And you know what everyone says? When are we doing this again?
Yes.
So we spent a fair amount of money, but
Yeah.
and every single customer was like, when are we doing this again? Because I happen to live where you vacation. Sorry, it doesn't suck here. And
Yeah.
so we're like, why are we not taking advantage of our home court advantage? And so I'm
Yeah.
going to do a smaller event for prospects and kind of in the fall some point. We're just going to get together for a couple days. I have an office to use. I work at my house. Sorry.
Yeah.
And we're going to take advantage of having a home court advantage because it's like I
Yeah.
live where you vacation. So every community has something. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe you're giving to the local church, or not the church, or even a church thing, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can do if they have a fundraiser event that has a comedian come in, or if you're doing the local
Yeah.
hospital and they have one of my friends and a mastermind member, he's associated with a hospital charity, a medical charity. And he's like, and he does a customer event every year, which is some crazy thing. But then he
Yeah.
brings other customers who are sports nuts to the hospital because the Ravens are aligned with the hospital and they all want to meet Ravens
Okay.
players. So he pays the
So there's
fee.
two great. Yeah.
So he
two great.
pulls in, everyone gets their picture with their favorite Raven,
Yep.
and they put it on their desk, and now they have something memorable to talk about. Hey,
And
I
two
got to
great
meet-
strategies there. One, having a customer event once you get to, scale, a couple trucks on the road, stuff like that. Having an annual customer event in the park or wherever, and flip burgers and do all that kind of stuff and bouncy castles and all that is a great thing. And then we're back to what we're talking about, your referral relationships. Yeah, do like, right, send out the book, but also invite them to the thing that you're going. Give them a free ticket to the theater, or like in our area, it's the St. Jacob's Theater, and it's pretty well known, or the Stratford Festival. Have a night where you got, hey, would you like to come with us? We've reserved a row, right? And
You're gonna get more memories out of that,
yeah,
right? And that for a lot of people will be like, well, what if they don't refer to me? And I was like, well,
yeah.
if you don't make them feel like you're a part of the same team, they're never going to refer to you. It's like
And what would
employees.
Robert Cialdini say on that? If you brought them to that event and they were one of the slacker referrals, and they're sitting beside the guy that refers, how do you know John? Oh my gosh, yeah, he services all of our clients. I probably sent him 50, 60 clients last year. Oh, I only sent him one, right? Robert Cialdini, the influence and persuasion, whichever book you want to read, or both of them, obviously, that's reciprocity. All of a sudden, if you give, or Bob Berg, the Go Giver, like, again, what
Right,
books are you listening
exactly.
to or reading?
Florida
But
guy,
you give to
West Palm
get,
Beach,
right?
Florida guy.
Yeah, yeah.
So anyway, great stuff. So anyway, I don't want to overwhelm everybody because John and I could talk about this. We could
yeah.
for 4 days.
Let's do it. Yeah,
So to remember, you don't need to start big, right? So just find the right
yeah,
people, start touching them. If you need help, go to
yeah,
referralteampro.com. I have a case study that talks about a little bit about what we're doing, and then
yeah,
I'm going to have a secondary video put out probably by 2 or 3 weeks after this podcast drops, where we are going to kind of show some of the secrets of like how we do it. I'm going to show you behind the scenes of kind of what the tools we've created
yeah,
to help make like, hey, what is this person really a good fit for me, or could I have my
yeah,
assistant do it instead of me? So kind of like this done with you kind of program where you don't necessarily have
yeah,
to do that, because that's where you should start. You should totally start on your own. Find 10 people, go do that. Then
yeah,
we've got some magic to help you kind of make that a little bit more scalable. And if you don't want to do it, hey, we'd love to help you too. We don't have to, but it
yeah,
certainly it makes it easier, and it certainly gets you out of the, once you know what to do, give it to someone else. Remember that question that said, you never
yeah.
ask a question you don't know the
And
answer
this is something really in your wheelhouse. And you normally, like we did talk ahead of time, you normally charge like $500 for a consult, because this isn't just, oh, I want your business. This is like
No, this is a real consult.
a
So
brain
yeah,
of
for
this.
anyone
And
who's
even if you go
listening,
off and do it yourself, there is if you're brand new and started, just work on it. We've got some systems and stuff that we teach you. Meet with Gerard or whoever your success coach with us is, and get started. If you're at that point where you're now ready to find the who, not how, and do the testing. There is no sort of light switch in marketing. It is a process. You test, you roll it out, and everybody stops because the ones that stop, 99% of people stop because they didn't run the test long enough. They didn't
right?
find the minimum viable. And Brian will talk to you all about that. So if you want to jump on a training with Brian, just again, Referral Team Pro, go chat with them. For our listeners, you're saying that you would waive that initial
Yeah,
consultation,
because
it's not a
here's
sales
why.
call. It's like it's a
It's not a sales call. There's nothing to
yeah,
buy. All
yeah,
you have to bring is your brain and a little bit about your customers, right? And then
yeah,
we're gonna try to brainstorm together on using all my experience and kind of these. I love
yeah,
finding. We love finding that third door, the other door that you're not expecting. John's door, where he went to the saw that they were driving BMWs.
yeah.
We'll help find those in our interior design business. I will tell you this: 90% of our clients drive European cars that are 4 years
Okay,
older, except for when they got flooded. A bunch of them got flooded. So they're all, and
okay,
some of them are driving so they're not driving the latest whatever.
yep,
They're driving 3 or 4 year old, very lovely seven series Mercedes or
yeah,
S class Mercedes, but they're 10 years old. They're driving a 5 year old 7 series BMW or a 10 year old 5 series. But they do have a little Porsche or a Bentley in the back room that you don't know about.
yeah,
But they
exactly.
all so we learned about and we thought they were golfers. They were not golfers. They all have, by the way, they all have 3 homes. They have their main
That's
home.
insane. Yeah,
They have their main. So when you ask them, say, hey, what do you do? So what would we say? Hey, where do you spend your summer? That would be
yeah,
part of a qualifying conversation, right? Oh, well, we have a place in Connecticut, but we love going to our beach house. Oh,
yeah. And
how
now
can
is it
you
you going ding
identify
ding
if they
ding ding
have
ding? Yeah,
how
yeah,
can you identify if they have budget without asking if they have budget? Because people
yeah,
that have means don't want to say, well, have you budgeted for this? Right.
yes,
Right.
yeah,
Joe Polish talks about him and Kennedy driving around going, well, why are you advertising in this neighborhood? They're nobody in this neighborhood's paying for carpet cleaning.
yeah,
Don't drive around and understand your customer. All right. They may be driving whatever. So even
yeah,
when I bought a house, I told the realtors, I want to be able to get into these gated communities at night. Well, why would you do that? I want to see who's here, who's living here. you can't tell me who those demographics are, right? So
Yeah.
I'm looking for basketball hoops. I'm looking
Yeah.
for things in the yard because I wanted to be around families. As referral owners,
Yeah.
people in the
Exactly.
referral
Right.
business, you can certainly see, you go to an event, you want to you want to be the one you can identify who your people are just by conversing with them and by
Yep.
identifying them. Because
Yep.
everyone's going to the networking events, which is why people like us, because they don't have to go to that. Someone's there to be, there's a financial advisor who's trying to find out, have you secured your financial future, because he
Yep.
wants to sell life insurance, right? The coffee guy's there. Hey, who brings your coffee in, right? But the
Yep.
ones that are there that are connectors, they're the ones you want to meet with because they're connecting. And so
Yeah.
there's a business, and there are businesses that kind of do this on a national scale. We're trying to basically dumb it down, put basically wheels around it, not wheels, lanes around
Yeah.
it, so you know what you're working with. So it's not so big, it's not attainable, because
Yeah.
the
So it
average
could be
business.
your next $100,000 to $200,000 growth in your $500,000 cleaning business. The next $100,000 to $200,000 hole in the water if you don't have a
It's
system around it. You might have a couple referral partners that have just got lucky because it was the guy you went to school with. He's now a real estate agent. He refers you because it's like, I like Joe, Joe likes me, off we go. But again, that's not scalable. That's that. So this is the opportunity to say, hey, I've done the basics. I'm now ready to go to the next level. I need some help.
And it does work at scale, because one of our clients is a
Yep.
big company, and now each one of their sales reps has identified their kind of dream. They're not dream 100s, they're like dream
Yep.
25s or whatever.
Yep.
And they're applying to those to their territory. So it's the same
Yeah.
exact, like the same. I said, whose else is there, right? And so we had
Yeah.
to get really granular and say,
Yep.
take pictures of the parking lots. Who's there? These are, again, facilities,
Yep.
like who's there? So you can kind of identify it. They couldn't. And so we
Yeah.
started asking the clients, hey, what engineers do you guys use? We're looking for some, literally, we are looking for some process engineers. Who do you
Yeah.
use that's good? Hey, we're looking for electrical engineers. Who do you use that good? We are looking for mechanical engineers. Who do
Mhm.
you work with that's good? I mean, so if you're a mechanical engineer and you're servicing the diaper factory, you're certainly servicing the peanut butter factory, right?
Yeah.
Those are, so I'm just saying, like, all of a sudden that doesn't become a scary, that's not a scary thing to ask. But
Yeah.
I've been doing this for so long, I'm like, I just go, oh, what about, and so that's what this
Yeah.
consulting is about. Like, you're gonna find these third doors you never even thought about,
Yeah.
because they're, to me, they're fun because it's fun,
Yeah.
and two, they're
Yep.
work because, again,
And yeah. And it's
yep.
part of but I always say, like, so a lot of people in the industry, the reason why people get stuck, 95% of all small businesses fail after 10 years, only, less than 93% ever make a million, all those kinds of stats that we know of. A lot of it is because they identify as the technician, the doer. Go back and read the E-Myth Revisited. They don't identify as the marketer of the services they're providing. If you identify as the marketer, you're going, dang, I got to go out and clean today when you're small and just starting out, because I don't have a chance. I'm going to refine my process. I'm going to refine my scripts in front of Mrs. Jones and Mrs. Smith, but I don't get to market my company until after I'm done doing the technician work. I'm going to hand that hat off as quickly as I can, because you should be the marketer of your services and thinking, how do you market every single day? And this is that mindset of that, as well as, now this is that third door. How can you find another way to get through that door, learn a few more things, learn to get the marbles out of your mouth, learn a little bit of lingo and a little bit of stuff, get the right messaging in front of the right people, dial it in, and all of a sudden you are now the best known cleaner in your marketplace, because you're also not just visible everywhere, you're also the most referred by other businesses, not just mom and pops, right?
Yep.
So it was one of the ways I would go into a new neighborhood. I would start by, back in the day, the early 2000s, I would drop 5,000 flyers a month, up to 50,000 flyers a month, back when, before postcards even, flyers were out, and big pink flyers. If we remember the Joe Polish, I was,
Oh yeah.
days and stuff like that. We did yellow ones. Jim Wolverton, that designed it, became a good friend of mine, and we would split test a bunch of different things. But that was just to get awareness. I knew that months would go by before I'd even break even, right? It was a new territory. I would be putting out thousands to 10,000s. Within the first couple of months, after those drops went into the ideal neighborhoods, I would now, in that new territory, meet every real estate agent, interior designer, go into every single flooring store, and meet and meet the maid services. And I would just start meeting those people joining their chamber, sure, that again, just to hang out or a BNI, but I would do the one-on-ones, meet them, offer to clean their house for free, show them bring my team in to do it while I stood around and talked about it. And there's a whole strategy to do that in today and get the ball rolling. So now you got referral partners and you've got awareness in the right neighborhoods. And then every time you did a cleaning job, you did your 20 around door hangers and yard sign. Now you're starting to build this brand position that the competitors who've been in town for 30 years knew nothing about, right? In the modern world, that is Brian and agentic agents and stuff like that, helping you do the heavy lifting. That was a lot. You
don't want to do that. You're not going to cold call yourself. You're not going to.
Yeah.
You need some help, right? And so the idea is
some help.
That's why you want to start small, because we can't nobody can amplify what they don't know. So that's one.
Yes.
And two, because we have to know what success looks like, and we're not in your business, right? Yeah. So as third parties, like my job especially is like, I mean, I own a home service business. I know, by the way, the reason why I know what our customer thing is like, we do everything we talk about. So we still have a client audition. So people say, well, are you taking jobs? And Pam's like, okay, wait a second. We have a process we go through. I want to make sure we're going to be a good fit for each other.
Yeah.
So that we can do that. Now you're not going to do that in carpet cleaning. You're going to.
Well, we have got some clients that actually do that. Every job has to be a quote, and they audition the client to them because their average job is $800 to $1,000 residential in a market where the competitors are 3 rooms and a hall for $99. They're getting $1,000 because identifying the right client, making sure they're a good fit. I had George on the podcast recently. His biggest his biggest lifetime value client, single residential client. He went back and checked. He's been in business 19 years. This guy wasn't customer number one. $200,000 residential client, not referrals, actually jobs in the fellow's home because he only works with the right people. And one of the right people have spent $200,000 so far in cleaning in their home, ducts, carpets, tile, you name it, multiple times a year because they entertain, big house, all that stuff. And, again, because George identified the right neighborhoods, the right people, the right, so you don't need to be thinking about $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 lifetime value if your average job with a client is $1,000. So there is, you can interview the client. There's a model for that as well. So anyway, so I think we've gone through a lot of stuff. I think
we've gone through a lot of stuff. So if you're crying after this, it's okay. It's okay. When I talk to my wife, she just tells me to stop. What do I do? Yeah. So we're gonna tell her what to do.
So what do we do? What's the good next step other than re-listening to this and taking notes and popping the transcript?
Certainly, this is a writer-downer one. So if you have to go back and listen in the office, absolutely do that. Check the show notes. Yeah. Check out Referral Team Pro. We're gonna have some case studies there. We're gonna talk about a little bit about what we did, and then I'll have in the contact form. Just put a note in there. I put a note in there. So how'd you find us? Just put a note in there that you're on the Cleaner Success podcast, or John, whatever it is. And then reach out to me, and then we'll get back to you, and we'll let you know what the next step is, and see if we can't figure out a way to give you some new ideas on how to build your referral part of your business and complement all the other great stuff you're doing.
Yeah, sounds brilliant, man. I appreciate you jumping on. I know this is a topic that we could both talk on for forever, but I think we've given the value that people can take away and say, if they're already started doing some of this, they've got a lot of, oh my gosh, light bulbs. If they haven't even started doing this, hopefully we've hammered in the reason why this is just a very valuable pull in the water. Even more so now, get started and then start thinking about your who, not hows as you grow your business.
And if you don't have 10 books to read from this one, you've lost your mind.
That too.
John, brilliant, thanks so much for having me.
I appreciate you jumping on. Bye, everybody. If you make sure, as always, comment whether you're watching any of the podcast episodes or on YouTube or anywhere you're consuming this. Put your comments in. Let us know what you think. And any shout outs to Brian, I'll share them along as well. And definitely, by all means, go to referralteampro.com and just check it all out and ping them if it makes sense. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.